Ladies and gentlemen, I've covered wars, civil unrest, economic strife, pandas, but I've never covered a story so compelling, so full of hope, so full of something that's on the tip of my tongue. You know, I just can't put words to it. But these ladies that I'm going to interview can. I'm George Herring, and this is a story about teaching. I'm here at Two Frogs and a Bicycle, but this story isn't about two frogs. It's about four ladies. And no, that's not a poker reference, but Oscar, if you're watching, I want my 200 large. I beat you last week. You owe me. Pay up. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about actual physical ladies. Teachers, some would say. But teachers of what? Well, loyal local cable watchers, that cuts to the heart of it. According to these teachers, they tell me you actually have to know what you're going to teach before you teach it. My mind is blown. Kapow.
Quite naturally, we all look at those statewide SOLs as the objectives to tell us what we should do. Don't we look at them for everything? But don't we also need to look deeper than SOLs? Before we look at where we're going, we need to know how to get there. We need to know where the students are. We need to know where they are now before we start. As effective teachers, we use pre-assessments. What else? KLW, compacting, and learning contracts are all useful tools to get us started. Also, what about the students? After all, isn't that why we're really here? Don't we care about them? Who are they? What do we know about them? Do we just assume that everybody's on the same page, the same starting point? No, that's why we have to pre-assess.
This particular lesson that I had the pleasure to watch from my hotel suite on a video monitor, because George doesn't wake up before 10:30 a.m., this particular lesson had to do with culture. Now, I don't know about you, but I always thought culture was just staying up on the latest episodes of House of Cards. But no, apparently there's more to culture than just that. And this culture club knows how to get it done. Why? Because they know how to figure out what's called the pre-assessment phase of learning. I don't know what those words mean.
You are part of the melting pot. We all have to come at it from the Virginia SOL as our blueprint or our roadmap. But then we have to be content specific about what culture is. So we're going to look at the textbook definition, and then we'll put it in our own words. That's the start of the lesson. But, you see, then we're going to write it down. We are going to write the definition. We'll put it in our binder on notebook paper. And yes, you do have to write it down right now, because I said so. And then we'll talk about what each one is. Each element of culture.
Which includes what?
It includes materials, social institutions, attitudes towards the unknown, arts, and communication.
Well, pre-assessment really gives us an idea of what knowledge the students already have. It gives us an idea of what we need to focus on and which students are going to need more challenging activities. We don't really want students working on activities if it's not going to challenge them. So we really want to analyze and have them work on higher level thinking skills whenever we can. Pre-assessment also gives us an idea of who may need extra support. If we don't know what they need to learn and what they already know, then we don't really know if we're teaching them something that isn't really applicable to them. It may be our English language learners or our struggling learners that need more support, but we don't really know that without pre-assessment. If we made incorrect assumptions, we would just be basing it as on their label. As a special ed resource teacher, I've seen firsthand how students assume that the students are going to struggle when in fact history may be their favorite subject.
I think it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, knowing is half the battle. Or maybe it was G.I. Joe. Somebody said it. Somebody said that. Which makes the other half of the battle not knowing. Which makes the whole battle how to not know that which was previously unknown. But how do you do that? I don't know. But you know what? These ladies seem to think it involves essential knowledge. That you actually teach the lesson before the lesson actually begins. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. I like to start with brainstorming because no matter where anybody comes from or what level they are, everybody eats. So I usually start it with a brainstorm about food. I ask them what they had for dinner last night. And if I'm lucky, somebody had tacos or mushu pork or kimchi or falafel or something like that. And I could segue into a discussion about culture based on what they had for dinner last night.
Knowing that later you're going to teach that very topic.
Absolutely. But hopefully it sets in their mind the idea that everybody has culture, and nobody's culture is right or wrong. We just have to recognize and look at what the characteristics are.
There's more to these ladies than meets the eye, and that's for sure. They tell me it's more than just pre-teaching essential knowledge before the lesson begins. Once the lesson actually begins, you have to stay flexible. Which is why I'm going down for some yoga right now before I learn more about culture from these teaching gurus. I'ma stay tuned.
In differentiation, we have to do different things. The school in which I attended is a lot different from the school now. We have students who have different cultures. The Atlee in which I started teaching 20-some years ago is now a different culture. We use a culture wheel assignment where we allow students to identify their culture through clip art and or perhaps drawing their own pictures and using their own artistic ability. Once that artistic ability has been discovered, I often use it to my advantage. I allow the students to then help their peers by drawing pictures and helping them identify their culture and explore and create their own culture wheel. I also use those students to help me in helping other students, to help me plan my lesson. Culture is such an important part of our society. We now in the United States live in what I refer to as a salad bowl. We have different learning styles, different learning abilities, and we have much to bring to the classroom. We have much to bring to the culture that is here in Hanover County. Now, for that student who finishes the lesson, the assignment first, we also have to differentiate by allowing him or her to have different books available so that they can further explore the lesson that's being taught, and or also to provide them with the lesson, the ability to perhaps teach the lesson, to peer teach, if you will. Just having different things and allowing students to further explore the knowledge, of further explore the learning that is being presented in the classroom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson's done. It's Miller time. I don't know about you, but when I'm done with my day, I like to find a nice frat house to hang out, kick back, talk about the ladies. Am I right?
You got that right.
That's right. But how do these ladies from this video know that they actually did the job? I mean, I know they know what they did, but how do you know that they know what they did? I'm talking about assessment. Case in point, ladies and gentlemen. See this right here? I won this soccer award in 4th grade for sportsmanship because I didn't cry at the last game. You know what that means? That means I'm a winner. How do these ladies know they've won? Am I right?
You are right.
Well, for I don't know how long, maybe since the Stone Age, we've been doing the same kind of assessments. The students do their first culture wheel at the beginning of the assignment or the unit, and then they do their own personal culture wheel. And we thought that was differentiated. They get to put their own personal information on a culture wheel. They can do clip art, they can color, they can paste pictures from magazines. So that was the original assessment. But then we started looking at the members of the class as individuals and not just a bunch of 9th graders in the classroom. We started thinking about the kid who just can't keep his hands still and always has a rhythm, puts a rhythm to everything. We thought about Jose, who can barely speak English. He's still in the developing stage. We thought about Su Yi, who can speak sort of. You know, she's developing as well, but she is interested in academics and very motivated. We thought about Barik, who just came from war-torn Syria. He loves to talk. He's hard to understand. We thought about him. We thought about the student who's not very creative but likes to write a lot, the student who's in creative writing and would write an essay any day. We thought about the student who is into art. We thought about lots of different assignments.
That's a lot of thinking.
We did do a lot of thinking, and so we finally put some assignments on paper. So a student can put together a time capsule and explain in just a couple of sentences what each artifact represents and how it represents them. We thought a student could perhaps make a display like in a gallery with personal items, and we encouraged food. We thought it would be fun to have a day with kimchi, falafel, chitlins, ice cream, whatever you wanted to bring. So we tried to differentiate to appeal to our students who don't speak a lot of English and can perhaps work with pictures better. We worked with those who are creative. We have some group projects. A student can do a skit or a videotape of another civilization in a far-off galaxy.
So why not just give them a multiple choice test?
Well, that would be really easy to grade. But we have a variety of intelligences. We have people who just work differently, and we wanted to give them choices. We want them to internalize the information that we're giving them, to think about cultures all around the world, through time, their own culture. We want them to have an opportunity to relate the lesson to their own lives.
I learned a lot on this assignment. First of all, I learned that teaching is difficult, which calls into question my whole plan to kick back my 50s and 60s in some cush community college job. Secondly, I learned that people are different. Yeah, I didn't know that before. And you know what else I learned? I learned that everyone has something to contribute, whether it's your culture or $5 to download this news report on iTunes. Thank you very much. This has been George Herring. Good night. I think it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, "Love is a battlefield." I think it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, "I'm going to get you, sucker." I think it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, "You got to fight for your right to party." I think it was Hanover resident Jay Pace who said, "It's getting hot in here. Let's take off all your clothes." Gracie, you said my name was going to be on the sign. Why isn't my name on the sign? That's a problem. Okay, there's a problem.